It's business. It's business time. Hang tight, we're gonna get into the business right here in a couple minutes. Baby, baby. It's business. It's business time. All right, well, we are here at the third installment of It's Business Time here at Stitch House. We definitely want to thank Stitch House for having us every week. And this week we have renowned legendary artist and musician, Mr. David Heitur. Thank you for joining me, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So we've known each other for quite a while in the scene.
Yes,
And as soon as I
some photography for Full Carbon years ago.
It was a while ago. Let me get your volume up here a bit more.
Hello.
There we are. You did photography, what was that, 2010, about 10 or 11, I think?
Maybe 12-ish, 13-ish.
12 or 13, all right, for sure. But I've probably known you since 2009 or 10. But regardless, when I started thinking about this series and starting to think about what sort of small businesses to interview, what sort of people to bring through, for as much fun as it is for you and I to hang out, a lot of this series is for other people who are starting businesses, who are starting careers, who are looking for clients, ways to break open into their own business spaces, and as much as it's fun to hang out with people I know, it's also for the people who are starting up. So
I agree.
I'd love to get a little bit of background, and then I want to jump into some of the more exciting parts of what you do, because man, I could probably talk to you for 3 hours and not even scratch the surface. But so you were a musician first, right? Back in the day. What was the band name?
I was in a few different bands. There was a band called Racer Mercury that was kind of Y100. If you're old like me, you listen to Y100. That was a radio station that played like, what bands was it? Like Our Lady of Peace and
right.
I can't think of the band names. Fuel.
The classic Y100, then Z100.
Yeah. A lot of Doc Martens and ripped jeans and choke collars. What was it? It was like those beaded necklaces.
Yeah.
And,
those are good times.
Yeah.
Good times.
Yeah.
That was the post-grunge era.
Yeah. And then I kind of moved into more like heavier stuff. And then,
and then when would you say, so you were, I assume you were probably taking some photography during this, but when did you No, not at all.
No.
When did you pick that up? And then / follow-up question, when did you realize this is going to be a viable career for me?
I picked up a camera in, I think, 2012. So I didn't pick it up till I was 30. Before that, I played music for a long time, and then by the time I was 29, I just didn't, that relationship with guitar and live music wasn't there for me. I mean, I already had I had a son, and I always had a day job. I was 18 years in customer service, retail management, supervisory stuff, but it was kind of just a base to kind of fund my creative outlet.
Keep your foot in the door, keep some income going.
Yeah, because it's a lot of this stuff when if you're a creative, like it gets expensive, and you don't know when the payout's gonna come until you kind of get momentum going. And a lot of it's just you're doing it to either figure out what you want to do or figure out what your audience is gonna do, or also figure out what you like. A lot of the reason why I'm here where I am is because either the stuff that I tried before didn't work, or I didn't like it, or I got tired of it.
Yeah.
And with music, being a good guitar player, there's a lot of good guitar players. And then I just couldn't get. The relationship wasn't there, so I started painting. Before I got into music, I did like painting, and but once I got into high school, we didn't have art class, so I never picked that up. So I painted a little bit. I did some art shows, and that kind of took me away from music. And I had displays in a few of the art loops, just paintings, and a few displays in Newark. I've had, I think, a month run in not Brouhaha. I did have a month in Brouhaha, but also Homegrown Cafe. And somebody actually called me while that stuff was on display, and they were like, hey, I really like this, but I want something bigger.
This is your artwork at Homegrown. Yeah.
And it was already like a 30 by 40, and it was an abstract piece. And I was like, I can't make exactly the same thing.
Right.
But I was like, I can make a print. So I thought about it. I was like, let me get a camera. I can't scan a 30 by 40 piece of art. So I traded a piece of artwork for a camera and started taking pictures.
Nice.
And the creative process with music, with a lot of stuff, is kind of the same. You come up with an idea, you find the best way to show it to everybody. With music, when you write a song, you play it over and over again, and then you record it, and then you play those parts over and over again. And if I don't get, I kind of just wasn't going anywhere with that process because I wasn't good at writing. And then with painting, I could just make a line and it's there. I don't have to do it again.
Right.
So I was like, shit, that was easy. So I don't have to, keep playing. As much as I love playing, keep doing the same thing to make a statement that I wasn't getting the same, like the results that I was expecting from, just kind of made me go elsewhere.
Go ahead. I was going to say, one of the through lines that I've seen in your career, and one of the reasons why I wanted to have you for sure, is the idea of like when you keep working at something and you keep going and you keep going, and even when you have bad moments, you have bad life periods, bad experiences or things like that, you still wake up and you still keep going and keep going. And that's one of the big questions that I think a lot of people, as they're heading down the path of entrepreneurship, small business, is, when is the time to pour gas on the fire versus when is the time to pack it up and try something different. And with you, from moving to music to art to photography, you move around so much. That was there a moment when you said, what was it, that the selling the painting at Homegrown, or was there a moment when you really said, I'm going to lean into this? This is going to be the next 10 years.
No, with me and the way I create and the way I work, one just kind of eclipses the other. I was always kind of about security. I didn't make the move to full-time until 2018, when I knew that I could do this myself. I spent, like I said, 18 years with a day job that had medical benefits and dental benefits.
Right.
And it had to be where I could take care of those and then still be able to do everything else. And once I got there, it was easy, because before I was doing one really hard and then the other one as hard as I could, but once your passion is into something creative and it starts taking off, like, the other relationship with the other job is probably going to go to shit.
Right.
You only have so much. And it was a point where I just kind of, I went to my boss at 18, one of my bosses of 18 years, and was like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I went in on my day off. I was like, yo, I'm sorry. I should give you 2 weeks notice, but I don't have time.
Yeah.
And bounced.
Yeah. So you that brings us up to 2018. And then when did Dream Art Studios form, or how did Dream Art Studios work out? By the way, if I failed to mention, David Heitur of Dream Art Studios, that's where you're going to find him. I'll put my hand out for the check out the promo, and I'll add that in later. So 2018.
So 2018 was like fall of 2018. I decided to go full time. The first year is always tough.
Yeah.
I spent most of my time at a gym eating peanut butter sandwiches and drinking like really cheap shakes, and people were like, oh, you lost a bunch of weight, and I'm like, yes, all I could afford to do was exercise, eat efficiently, and because I was paying for everything else. And but I loved it because I only had to do just that. Before I had to do that and a day job.
Right.
So being able to, when I didn't have to work, I could either rest or work or just kind of stay inspired. And then
your personal journey is definitely, there's a lot there. That might be a different podcast. But no, I mean, I've known you through the years, and you know, watching you is definitely been inspiring. Like,
thank you.
The way that each step back is met with 2 steps forward.
Right.
So let me ask you some questions that might be a little annoying or boring for us.
No.
But at the same time, one of the big questions when you're doing freelance stuff, when you're gathering your own clients, when you are that personal with the people who are you're sending invoices with,
right,
is how do you pick your clients, and how do you set your pricing? Because some of them, I imagine, are your friends. I see you everywhere in the music scene. Like, how do you kind of pick who you're going to work with, and then also how do you kind of set up the pricing structure for those out there who are doing something similar?
Well, with photography and projects, they kind of vary. We have rates, and then we have licensing fees, imaging fees, and there's just tons of variables that kind of go from there. But the big thing is just build a relationship with anybody you come in contact with, and I don't want to be the photographer for everybody, but I want to be the photographer for my clients.
Right.
And I remember when we were on the way to the car, you were asking me about if you had any problem clients, and I really don't, because I don't put myself out there to please everybody from the gate.
Right.
I want people that like my work, people that like me, people that like my personality, and usually the people that do like that aren't people that are going to give me problems, and they're going to be grateful for the work I do, and they'll kind of influence me to keep going above and beyond for them.
Yeah. So in like sales, right, you might call that screening. You screen your clients really well. You only work with the ones that you know are going to be rewarding to work with.
And sometimes I just work with, I mean, I'm willing to work with anybody. It's a lot of them screening me.
Yeah.
Because I'll say yes to anybody until they say no.
Right.
Because I worked for years in face-to-face retail, where it's you're telling people that I can't give you another discount. I can't do this. I can't do this. So being able to do that being in a from a place where I can serve people better, saying I can't because I have a boss. I'm the boss. I can always say what else I can do, what other things I can do, or I can recommend somebody that's better for them, which is also important with being friends with people in the creative community, because I can't do everything.
Right.
Like I'm tired.
Well, that's a great segue too. So in Dream Art Studios now, you have a couple partners. Is that right?
And
what are?
And I like how you just kind of led into that. So after 2020, I was approached from Pedro at Dream Art, and he's the owner with the co-owner Manuel. It's Pedro Escarcega and Manuel Flores. They have now it's but we have a studio on Superfine Lane called Dream Art Studio. And we also have a second location in Hockessin on Old Lancaster Pike, which was mine, and we merged them together. So we have 2 locations. But he approached me, and Dream Art is big in the Latino community. We cover a lot of the weddings. We actually covered Mexican Independence Day celebration at Penn's Landing. We covered the video footage for that.
Nice.
So it's a whole audience that I could not reach, and that I
How did you
met.
get the Penn's Landing gig?
Just we got it last year, and a lot of it's with the musicians we work with.
Gotcha.
So, and that's another audience, because I have like my rock musicians, my like the guys here, and then the other owners of Dream Art have the same thing, but with a different culture. Yeah. And so we kind of just have a big double up on creativity. Yeah. And it's fresh, because I get to see difference, like huge difference. Like
it sounds like a huge portion of your business is from referrals and friend connections, things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a very easy guy to talk to and get along with. So
and I think it's just long-term relationships, because there's people that know me that I play golf with, or people that I know that I play music with, that I'm doing their weddings, and then as they grow their businesses, I'm doing their headshots, or I'm doing their product photography, or doing commercials for them.
And I wonder too, I do have to mention this, because you contributed, created, helped to document, I think, probably one of my favorite local celebrities, Lil Louie, there, and how much was like I just loved watching that journey. This is when we didn't really know each other professionally. We were like more friends, but watching you document Louie's life was just like, it was one of the most heartwarming things. But and now it's Frankie.
Yeah.
But I think you are exceptional at animal photography. He was able to catch moments with that pup, like it was great.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they say dog's man's best friend, and I've always had a best friend.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why I've always stayed like on my creative path of kind of being like this lone wolf, because I've always had my little sidekick of a dog. A little dog.
I love it, man.
But
it's incredibly endearing, and just the way that you portray, I think that shows just like a lot of casual talent, you know. But very awesome. I asked you a little bit too about any events or anything like that coming up. Is there anything you're looking forward to? I know a couple of our friends, Genesis has this like CD release party coming up, and some other stuff. But we met at not met, but we have been attending Oddity for a while. That's a great like industry night.
We are actually helping with hosting the Hispanic American Awards coming up in November. That's going to be at the Grand.
Oh, wow.
Across the street. And we're working on things around that level. And we also, coming up, we do Christmas photos at Dream Art Studio. If you follow us on Instagram, Facebook.
Throw out some tags. Let's do some. How can they
Dream
find
Art
you on
Studio
Instagram?
LLC. If you just search Dream Art Studio LLC, or if you search David Heitur, DavidHeitur on all platforms, there's only one, and he is horrible. But yeah, I mean, he's an easy find.
It is.
But yeah, we have. I kind of cross share from myself for Dream Art, and then Dream Art shares what I'm going, because we have to kind of keep our audience
Engaged.
From the beginning, the ones that we've had, because we kind of merged together, and you want to kind of not be like, hey, everything's Dream Art, or everything. So now, like, being able to we can showcase each other, because I have amazing videographers now.
Yep.
And I have an amazing photographer that makes me step my game up every time. And that's one of the reasons why we got together, because we got so busy, we would get throttled to where we could only take on so much work. And then once you get bigger, you have to expand, you have to grow. And that's kind of the hard thing when you're a creative and you have your own personal vision. Right. You have to share that with somebody else. And one of the reasons why I like being the photographer, the bass player, is I just kind of do the accents. I kind of make the best out of the situation I see. I don't have to. Usually you don't have to manipulate anything. You just kind of set it up. And you accent it.
Yeah, I spent some time on your Linktree checking out a lot of the portfolios, and I'm definitely gonna have to reach out for headshots as soon as I get my hair cut here. But yeah, man, I honestly I could dive deep down the rabbit hole of like how you set your pricing and what sort of marketing ideas have worked best for you in the past. But ultimately, this series is really just to kind of expose people in our area who are grinding, who are in the small business scene. If you catch David out in the real world, he is he's a wealth of knowledge. Definitely, ask him a question if you got one. Sorry about that.
No, thank you.
But no, for sure. So David Heitur of Dream Art Studios, thank you so much for being here at
Thank
our
you for
Business
having me.
Time series. Thank you, Stitch House, for having us. Thanks, everybody, for hanging in there. We got another set coming up where Dave's going to jump up on bass. We're going to play a couple tunes. Thanks again, my man.
Thank you for doing this too.
Absolutely. Tell your friends.
Business time.